Welcome. My name is Claire Harrison. I'm the Managing Director of Harrison's, and today we're talking about this very big topic of boosting employee motivation and engagement. But assuming that everyone can see the presentation and hear me, I'm going to keep moving along. Okay, so this is our standard disclaimer. Most importantly, we're not lawyers. I'm not giving professional advice in regard to any specific circumstances for your business. So that is our disclaimer. A little bit about Harrison's. We have three key services. So the first one being consulting. That can be anything from organisational change support through to setting up your compliance around award and pay compliance, employment contracts, HR policy manuals, position descriptions, could be delivering training, doing disc profiling, anything that's a discrete project that you might need help with within your HR team, or if you don't have HR people within your organisation. Our core service is our HR team service, which is our outsourced, insourced. So that is very suitable to an SME business. So anything from 20, 30 employees up to a few hundred. We go in and we do a very comprehensive audit of what's going on in your business at the moment around people and culture. Then we develop a HR plan, we do an engagement survey, and we put a HR manager on site with you, anything from 1 to 5 days per week, whatever it is that you may need. Recruitment and onboarding is our service that helps you with developing your employee value proposition, your employee brand, your sourcing strategy. We run that process for you. We also do onboarding. So basically that is helping you to facilitate your probation period. So that's our recruitment and onboarding service. My HR Experts is our new online product. That is the web URL. That's a subscription membership type service where you get access to a whole lot of tools, templates, these webinars recorded there. There's a HR bootcamp. There's other webinars, trainings, a whole lot of resources to help you with managing the people and culture aspects of your businesses. So that's a little bit about Harrison's. This is just a snapshot of our team and the experts within our team. But most importantly, what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to cover off on what is employee motivation, what is employee engagement, the key benefits of having motivated employees, and some strategies to boost motivation and engagement. So we will start with a little bit of a definition around employee motivation. So employee motivation is the level of energy, commitment, and creativity that a worker brings to their work. It refers to the forces that drive and influence employees to perform their tasks effectively and efficiently. Motivation can be described as both a combination of internal and external factors, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that inspire individuals to take action and achieve their goals. Versus employee engagement. Employee engagement is the strength of the mental and emotional connection employees feel toward the organisation, the team, and the job. So that is employee engagement. It refers to the level of commitment, involvement, and enthusiasm that employees have toward their work and their organisation. Engaged employees are fully invested in their work and they are motivated to go above and beyond to help their organisation succeed. Employee engagement goes beyond just job satisfaction or happiness. While satisfied employees may be content with their work, engaged employees have a deeper sense of purpose and meaning in their work. They feel connected to the organisation's vision and values, and they're committed to helping the organisation achieve their goals. So some of the many benefits of having highly engaged and motivated employees. So there's huge amounts of research around all of these topics. So without a doubt, employee engagement holds paramount importance in today's age as it can improve retention to a great extent. An engaged employee can significantly contribute to the growth and success of an organisation by driving profitability and performance. Employees who are engaged tend to be more productive than unengaged workers. People-minded organisations know that their people are their greatest lever for business success. And according to Harvard Business Review, 92% of executives believe that engaged employees perform better. And that's just one of many of the employee engagement statistics. So some others that we have up here, increased the result, this is of high employee engagement and motivation, increased employee productivity by 17%, higher employee retention, lower turnover, increased customer satisfaction, lower absenteeism by 41%, reduced workplace stress, better employee health, decreased workplace injuries, and increased profit by 22%, which is significant. So higher employee retention, the biggest advantage of having engaged workers is that the turnover remains low, which also reduces all of those obvious and hidden costs that come with recruitment and rehiring people and holding on to them. Increased customer satisfaction, 72% of executives, like I said, strongly agree that having engaged employees actually results in happy customers and retaining those customers, leading to higher levels of profitability. The lower absenteeism, so the highly engaged workplaces see that 41% lower. If we look at the better employee health, employees are less likely to be obese, less likely to suffer from chronic disease, and more likely to eat healthier and more likely to exercise. Having a healthier employee has a positive impact on your bottom line, but it also leads to having decreased workplace injuries. They're more aware of their surroundings and can focus on the task at hand, leading to that 70% fewer safety incidents in highly engaged workplaces. Increased profits, like I said, significantly. A study by Gallup, companies with high levels of employee engagement witnessed a whopping 22% in overall profits. So when companies focus on improving employee engagement, it becomes easier for workers to give their best shot at tasks assigned to them. As a result, the profit and margin increases for them. So just some of the many, but the main benefits of focusing on your engagement and motivation. Some other reasons to take action around employee engagement and motivation. So 69% of employees are more likely to stay with the company for 3 years if they had a great onboarding program, a great new employee experience. Engagement, interestingly, drops by nearly 7% after an employee's first year at an organisation. So that importance of continuing to focus on retention and engagement after the first year of employment. 65% of employees prefer more clearly defined responsibilities, so that role clarity is important. we've all, I think, heard this, 70% of the variance in team engagement is explained by the quality of the manager. So we will focus quite a bit on the role of leaders within the organisation. Thriving employees are 4 times more likely to work for a company that ensures equity in pay. So again, a topic that we've covered from the changes in the Fair Work Act, but really important to people. 60% of employees are unaware of their company's vision, whereas 67% don't feel motivated by their company's mission. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But some other reasons to start thinking about your employee engagement and motivation and putting some effort and time and money possibly into it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about employee motivation. Like I said earlier, there's this internal versus external, which we refer to as extrinsic versus intrinsic. So research on employee engagement suggests that people perform better when they're motivated, which is not surprising, but there's still widespread debate about whether traditional motivational strategies like the stick and the carrot really work, which is really more about the extrinsic motivators. So instead, we're going to focus more on the intrinsic motivators, on what it takes to make people really care about what they do. So extrinsic, but there's a fair amount of research. There's some research back, the main part in 2008, Decky and Ryan's, which really distinguishes the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic. And then Daniel Pink, who I'm going to talk about in a slide or two, has also done some more recent work on it as well. So extrinsic motivation involves engaging in activity because it leads to a tangible reward or a punishment. So something that you're going to get. Intrinsic motivation involves doing something because it is both interesting and deeply satisfying. We perform such activities for the positive feelings that they create. Studies have consistently shown that intrinsic motivation leads to increased persistence, greater psychological well-being, and enhanced performance. So Decky and Ryan from 2008 assume that humans are naturally self-motivated, curious and interested, but the right conditions must be in place to be intrinsically motivated. So I'm going to give you some examples now of the extrinsic versus the intrinsic. So extrinsic, which are really, that's why we're referring to them as the traditional. So bonuses, those financial incentives for achieving specific goals or exceeding expectations that can motivate employees to work harder and to be more productive. Promotions, offering opportunities for promotion or advancement based on performance, can motivate employees to work harder and improve their skills. Recognition, publicly acknowledging an employee's contributions or achievements in front of their colleagues can boost their motivation and confidence. Awards, offering awards for outstanding performance or achievements can motivate employees to work harder and strive for excellence. Benefits, offering benefits such as health insurance, extra superannuation, company cars, extra annual leave, may be motivating factors for some employees. Competition, creating healthy competition amongst employees can motivate them to work harder and achieve better results, especially if we're looking maybe at a sales team. Performance evaluations, providing regular feedback and evaluations can motivate employees to improve their performance and work toward achieving their goals, although there's also some conflict in research on that as well around David Rock's research from Neuro Leadership. 8, time off, offering additional time off as a reward for meeting specific goals or completing projects can be a motivating factor for employees. So that's some of the extrinsic rewards and definitely the more traditional rewards that have existed and motivators of individuals. Okay, versus the more intrinsic, which we are going to spend more time talking about today, autonomy. So the ability to work independently and make decisions can be a motivating factor for employees who value autonomy. Mastery, so opportunities to learn new skills, take on challenging tasks, and develop expertise in a specific area can be motivating for employees who seek personal growth and development. Purpose, feeling like the work has meaning and contributes to a larger goal or vision or mission or purpose, whatever that may be, can be a motivating factor for employees who value purpose, the why, and making a difference. Creativity and innovation, being able to use their creativity and innovation in their work can be a motivating factor for employees who enjoy being creative and coming up with new ideas and being involved in decision-making and creative thinking. Many people would want to get involved in that, and that would be motivating. 5, responsibility, having a sense of responsibility and ownership over their work can be motivating for employees, those employees who take pride in their work and really want to do their best. 6, feedback, receiving regular feedback and recognition for their work can be motivating for those who want to improve and to feel valued. Work-life balance, having a healthy work-life balance and flexible schedule can be a motivating factor for employees who prioritise their personal life and well-being. And finally, personal growth, so opportunities for personal growth and development such as mentoring, coaching can be motivating for those who seek self-improvement and growth. So that's one is explaining the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic rewards and also providing some examples of those. Okay, so type A, this is coming from the author, Daniel Pink, who's had a number of books. This one's come from Drive, I think, but he's an author, Daniel Pink, and hopefully you've heard of him. But he talks about this intrinsic motivation. He really talks about that the carrot and stick approach is old school, that we need to move past that and look definitely more towards intrinsic. So he talks about type A, which is intrinsic, and he contrasts that with the traditional model of extrinsic motivation, which he refers to as type X behaviour. which focuses more on that reward and punishment type behaviours that we covered. So to build an intrinsically motivated team, Daniel Pink says you need to focus on 3 key factors, and this also does come from some other research that I'll talk about as well. But autonomy, so people are trusted and encouraged to take ownership of their own work and their own skill development. Mastery, people see no limits to their potential and are given the tools that they need to continue to improve their skills. And purpose, again, purpose, people are encouraged to use their skills to achieve a greater purpose. For instance, getting involved in a good cause, a charity, whatever it might be that they're passionate about. So this is Daniel Pink's work. I'm going to continue on his work. And so these are some of his suggestions about motivators at work relating to that type A intrinsic. So I'll just go through these 4 suggestions and recommendations that he has. So the first one is called try out 10% time. So what he says is to give team members the chance to spend 10% of their working time on a project of their own choice. These projects should fall outside of their day-to-day work, but offer benefits to the business. Fixing a software bug or finding ways to improve a process, as an example. The second one is take steps to give up control. So relinquish some managerial control in favour of giving your team members more autonomy. He says you can do this by involving people in their own goal setting. So individuals will likely be more engaged in their work when they pursue goals that they have helped to create. Reducing controlling language. So instead of always saying you must, you should, use terms like consider doing or think about doing. And the third subheading here is having open door hours. So set aside some time when people can come and talk to you about business or personal issues without fear or judgment. So that was take steps to give control. The third one is develop Goldilocks tasks. So Goldilocks tasks are, as the name suggests, tasks that are neither too hard nor too easy, but just right. They're team projects that encourage focus and flow, and which can aid the development of mastery. These types of tasks resemble stretch goals, ambitious targets that challenge what people seem as possible. They should stretch the team members and enable them to develop skills in the process. Goldilocks tasks often involve collaborative work and have clear goals. Clear end goals and clear milestones throughout. This helps to promote a sense of purpose. For example, you could ask your team to resolve bottlenecks in a production distribution process, or maybe some problems with your CRM. Maybe something's clunky and there could be a better process, or you need to replace it. What are the alternatives? So some examples of those Goldilocks tasks. And finally, promote collaboration and cross-skilling. So if your team has lots of skills to offer, you can put those skills to good use by allowing your team members to move between functions. And you can promote cross-skilling or upskilling by encouraging them to share their skills and collaborate with others as part of the wider learning culture of the organisation. I will say, we need to avoid potential pitfalls in these suggestions, and this is coming from Daniel Pink. Many organisations developing autonomy, mastery and purpose will likely involve a shift in culture, and major for some organisations. So think carefully about how the framework fits within your organisations, within the current activities and structure before you introduce it. Organisations that do work to strict deadlines and protocols, and which consequently have that high type X type motivators, in terms of the extrinsic, may find this kind of motivational framework difficult or even harmful to doing what they need to do. This could include, for example, law firms where professional standards are very important, or a large production or manufacturing plant where process is key. So just thinking about when it would suit. Obviously, if you're in creative industries, they're all amazing suggestions for you. So that's the work of Daniel Pink around the extrinsic and intrinsic motivators. Great book though, read for Drive by Daniel Pink, and he's got a few others as well. Okay, this follows on, well, they're quite similar, and they both use that base work that I talked about from 2008 with Decky. They're a little bit different, but very similar. So it talks about, this is from positive psychology, they talk about autonomy, relatedness, and competence. So these are some suggestions around that. So the autonomy, people need to believe they have choices. So that was some of the work. So these are some more suggestions around that. The relatedness, people need to deepen connections with others, and some suggestions about how that could happen. And competence, which to me is very similar to that mastery. People need to have skills and the opportunity to show them. So these are some other suggestions, and I put these up because, again, they're relating to increasing the intrinsic motivation at work. Now, I'm hoping that everyone has seen this before because it's one of my favourites. It's Simon Sinek's The Golden Circle and Starting with Why. I included this because so much of the work and recommendations around boosting employee engagement and motivation come back to the purpose and why of both the organisation and being able to communicate something that resonates with people, that they want to work in an organisation that's doing that, but also in terms of people understanding their own why and purpose. So the Golden Circle, I have made a note here. If you haven't seen it, then you should definitely watch Simon Sinek's TED Talk, which is on leadership, but he covers off on the Golden Circle here. He's got a number of books. One of the books that he does have is, I think it's called Starting with Why, or Finding Your Why, one or the other. But he does have a few, and is really good. So purpose is a key consideration for intrinsic motivation. Really, everyone's asking and continues to ask in terms of younger generations, not to generalize too much, but like, why are we going to work? What is my purpose? And we want to be hiring people, importantly. You might have a great purpose, but you want to ensure that people you hire are also aligned to that why and your values. It's also about that cultural fit. We'll talk more about culture a bit later on, but it's important that you do understand and articulate and have a more motivating why for your organisation. So in terms of a starting point, if you don't have something in place or you don't think what you've got in place is good enough, then I do suggest that you start with these questions. So what is your ultimate purpose and cause? Why does the organisation exist? What is the end benefit or purpose to why the organisation is in place? And don't say it's to make money. There's always a customer of some type that is paying money for some reason. There is some pain or need that your organisation is fulfilling within community and society in the world. So why does your company exist beyond the services it offers? Why should people care about your business? And what is your fundamental belief? So these are some questions, and it'll take a little while to really get to the heart of the why of for your organisation. And I could spend a whole lot of time talking about why and vision and values. It's a whole other session really, which is very exciting and important, but we don't have time. But I think today, it's really about, if we are going to boost engagement and motivation, people really need to feel, from a heart point of view, connected to what your organisation does. That will increase your employee engagement and it will help you to retain people. Okay, so interestingly, this is from Gallup. They have brought out for 2023 some critical employee engagement trends for 2023. So I thought I would talk a little bit about these. So there's 5 of them. So the first one is about hybrid or flex work models, which we have heard so much about in the last few years. So while employees will be more open to coming into the office more regularly now, they will continue to prioritise opportunities that offer some level of a hybrid model and more flexibility. And I think for those of us that are hiring people, we're all seeing this. The expectation has significantly increased since pre-COVID. So it's not going to go back to what it was before COVID. It's not the same as what it was during COVID, but there is a middle ground that needs to be found. And that, I understand that I'm getting onto solutions, but I understand not all jobs and organisations can do that. So then it may be looking at even the design of your jobs and work and the systems that you have in place to allow for different types of flexibility. Physical and mental well-being. So psychological safety has become, and burnout, psychological issues have really, again, they have always been there, but definitely have exacerbated and come to light during COVID and of more recent times. And it really, if we don't look after our people holistically, can have a big impact on those individuals, our organisation, but, importantly, the wider community and society that we live within. So within the past few years, negatively impacting mental and physical health, employees are looking for employees to support and help them improve and manage their overall health, physical and psychological. So that's definitely a trend. Salaries rising. So we've seen that definitely over the last 12, 18 months, that is for some. And, my thought is that we'll probably slow down, but not till the end of the year. If the interest rates, there's will be at least a few of those left to increase, inflation continues to rise, like there will be a point that I think that will start to slow down. But at the moment, we are continuing to see salaries rise. And, there'll be recent, even coming out from Fair Work, there'll be some interesting decisions coming out around minimum wage and award increases. Onboarding new employees. So this comes up quite a lot in the research in terms of the importance of onboarding new employees. So with employees controlling the market at the moment, the first impression employee makes is more important than ever. So the onboarding process and the first 90 days will continue to rise in level of importance in engagement and retention. So the onboarding process is critical. Transparency, interestingly, is another trend. So with 2023 forecasted to be a challenging economic year, employees are looking for organisations that have a strategic plan for navigating this level of uncertainty. Employees will also be on the outlook for leaders that prioritise educating their team members on both strategy and economic trends. So with that comes that level of transparency that maybe organisations, businesses, leaders weren't used to sharing in the past, but it is about being very open, clear with employees in terms of what the situation is and the plan that exists for your business. So, one is having the plan, and secondly is being able to communicate that and providing some reassurance to your employees. So coming out of that, to be able to specifically talking about those 5 trends. So some things that we need to look at, and I did cover a little bit of those. So how leaders and employers should respond to these employee engagement trends. Again, this is being sourced from Gallup. So if you're curious about how to get out in front of these new employee engagement trends, let's go through these 5 actions. So need to have a rethink about how work gets done. So although, like I said, not every organisation has the freedom or the luxury of having a hybrid work model, it is time for all of us to sit down and review how the work actually gets done. So look for ways that we can offer some flexibility to employees for internal processes. Be open to inviting consultants or coaches to give you objective opinions about how work could look different, how your structure could look different, to provide some flexibility to people. Explore technology that you haven't already, and commit to being open to reshaping job descriptions. I think important, which is getting employees involved in those discussions as well, because they may have ideas that will deliver on both what they're looking for, what you need, and also what customers are expecting as well. Support the whole employee, so the physical and the psychological. So maybe look to create a committee, a task force, or appoint a leader, put someone in a position, depending on the size of your organisation, to find the right options to support employees on both a personal and professional level. Employees have been on overload for the past few years. We need to show empathy and provide support. Work with maybe a healthcare company or an allied health professional company to offer an employee assistance option if you don't already, an EAP program. Explore a local gym for a corporate membership. Create opportunities for community, connection, and overall health in your company. Integrate the idea of the healthy employee into your culture. Good idea. Focus on culture. So I said we'd come back to this one. So focus on culture. Embrace the idea that it is not simply a job that employees are looking for, as they can find that easily. They want a place and a leader that they can believe in, one where they feel they are doing work that actually matters and they are contributing and making a difference. All what I just so important. So this coming year is the year of culture, given this research. So again, thinking from your organisation's perspective, who are you as an organisation? What is your culture? What do you stand for? What is the why of your organisation? How do you engage employees into that culture and that process and your vision and values? Every team member should be able to quickly and clearly articulate your vision, mission if you have one, and your values. Leaders matter. So if you want to retain employees, attract top talent, and increase productivity and engagement and motivation, you need to realise that leaders matter. Leaders are the crucial step in this process. The reverse is also true. So I'm sure we've all experienced or know about where there aren't good leaders in place and the impacts that has on the entire organisation. People don't stay for a job, they stay for the leader. Invest in frontline managers, leadership development programs, communicate with them and help them to understand how critically important their role is and ensure that they're supported in doing that. Accountability and support, the final response to the trends here. Last but not least, hire slow and fire fast. Engagement is directly connected to how seriously you live your culture, how much you invest in your team members, and how quickly you reward those contributing and let go of those who not. So if you truly are living your values, then you won't be holding on to people that are not truly living your values. Okay. So I'm not sure that you'll be able to read all this. But basically, it's an idea map that looks at everything that I've just talked about, all the ideas about boosting employee engagement and motivation. There's all these ones up here that are around the extrinsic motivators. Over here, we've got the intrinsic ones. Over here, we've got the trends from Gallup and what you can do about those. Down here, we've got Simon Sinek's work on starting with your why and purpose. And here we've got Daniel Pink's work on the type A motivators. But what I will say, it just really depends on your organisation, your people, your industry in terms of what the needs are for your organisation. So key takeaways on strategies to boost engagement. You need your purpose. Employees need a why, purpose that resonates with them. You need to really look at your onboarding programs and that, that first 90-day experience. And then though, most importantly, because we looked at the stat around engagement dropping past 12 months, is that ongoing engagement of employees, including opportunities to learn and grow, the importance of role clarity, recognising employees for their contribution, invest time to ensure leaders feel supported and equipped to lead, be transparent about your business strategy, compensation decisions, and opportunities for growth and progression of employees. Review the structure of work. So that's about the roles, working from home options, flexible work options, and also about that providing psychological safety to avoid burnout and other psychological conditions, as well as obviously physical safety. So my caution here is each person, job, team, organisation is different. So in terms of moving forward and where to start, because it is very complex and it really needs to be planned out. It's a big investment of your teams and your organisations to look at how we approach it. So best done in a very well-planned approach based on the facts that relate to your organisation. So where to start? I think, we need to appreciate, and hopefully you have from this presentation, that employees are looking for more than money. Important. Even now, I know that we all know of people that are, and we hear that are jumping for significant amounts of money, but It's not just about the money. So we need to understand that. We need to recognise that individualised circumstances and needs need to be considered in formulating our strategy around engagement and motivation. Importantly, before we start deciding what it is that we're going to do, is that we need to analyse how effectively our current strategies are working. We need to gather information. We need to talk to our people, and probably a really good way of doing that that we use with our clients is an employee engagement survey that can really look at all these factors that we've spoken about and give you some good information to work on. So based on the information that you gather and analyse, then you can identify what needs improving and put some priorities around that, and a budget potentially. Importantly, we always say, is to communicate, communicate, communicate. So really important when you have gathered information, you have identified some gaps, is that you go back to employees, thank them for their feedback, summarise, the findings, I suppose, in terms of what's going well and what you've decided to focus on, and then actually do something about it. But all of that needs to be regularly, consistently, and well communicated to your teams. Create those initiatives, projects, and processes, and then implement, and then ongoing, monitor, evaluate, what are the results, what improvements do we need to make, has there been a bottom line impact, but that takes time. You're not going to see an instant hit overnight, but what you should start to see, organisations that have high levels of employee engagement have lower levels of turnover. So straight away your recruitment costs should drop, but you'll definitely see the impacts on productivity and performance as well, and many others that we spoke about earlier. Okay, so Harrison's does offer an employee engagement survey based on questions that are all well researched and relate back to employee engagement. There's just 20 questions. We develop the comms plan with you in terms of rolling that out. We can cut data by groups. Then we deliver a leadership team workshop where we present the results and then do some action planning on the top, the areas that need most improvement as determined by the survey, but in discussion with you. And we also deliver a report and recommendations. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. And this is how you contact us. So that was our session on boosting motivation and employee engagement and the benefits of doing so. I hope that was very useful, and I thank you for attending. Bye.